Everything you know about how the world works is about to change in the next 72 hours of your personal timeline. Are you panic ready or power ready? Most people walk around with this nagging sense that something is off. You look at the news, you look at your grocery bill, you look at the chaos in the job market, and it feels random. It feels like bad luck. But what if I told you these aren't separate random events? What if the war in Europe, the price of your gas, and the sudden explosion of AI are actually just predictable stages of a single, massive global shift that is already happening? The world you have known your entire life isn't just changing, it is being completely rewritten. The operating system of our reality is getting a forced update, and most people are going to be left running incompatible software. In this video, I'm going to connect the dots between the massive forces colliding right now. I'm going to explain why the old rules you learned in school no longer apply, and I'm going to show you exactly what the fallout looks like. This isn't a forecast for 10 years from now. This is your world, right now. Let's talk about the first domino. This is the foundational shift. For the better part of a century, roughly since the end of World War II, the planet ran on a relatively stable foundation. It was an imperfect global order, sure, but it had clear rules. It was a unipolar world, largely led by the United States and its allies, who set the standards for trade, finance, and international relations. If you broke the rules, there were consequences. That era is dead. We have moved into the messy, chaotic arrival of a multipolar world. Power isn't concentrated in Washington or Brussels anymore. It has shattered. It is scattered across the globe. We are living through a historic transfer of wealth and economic power from west to east, a redistribution unlike anything we have seen in modern history. The rise of nations like China and India isn't just an economic story for the business pages. It is a geopolitical earthquake. These players aren't just joining the game. They are showing up with their own referees and their own rulebook. Look at China. Even facing its own internal economic headwinds, it is aggressively pushing to reshape the global landscape to fit its image. Its military buildup and technological ambitions are a direct, unignorable challenge to the old guard. Then you have Russia, acting with a terrifying sense of short-term urgency, trying to physically dismantle the security systems it sees as threats. But here is the catch. It's not just about new superpowers replacing old ones. It's about the fragmentation of power itself. The influence of non-state actors, massive transnational corporations, private military organizations, even decentralized criminal networks is exploding. By 2025, the idea of a single, unified, international community holding hands and singing Kumbaya has basically evaporated. We are now in what analysts call a G0 world. There is no G7 running things. There is no G20 saving the day. There is zero global leadership. In this vacuum, every nation is out for itself. America first clashes with China first, which clashes with India first. It doesn't lead to a balance of power. It leads to the law of the jungle. Take a look at the concrete numbers coming out of India. As of late 2025, India has become the world's fourth largest economy, essentially neck and neck with Japan. It remains the fastest growing major economy on the entire planet. Projections aren't just guessing anymore. They show a clear path for India to surpass Germany and become the world's third largest economy by 2028. This isn't just numbers on a spreadsheet. It is a fundamental redistribution of who gets to make the decisions for the human race. This geopolitical fragmentation is the bedrock for everything else. It is the first domino, and when it falls, it hits the global economy with the force of a freight train. This triggers the second domino, the economic consequences. The geopolitical fragmentation isn't happening in a vacuum. It is directly rewiring how money moves. Remember the 90s and 2000s? The era of smooth, frictionless globalization? The idea that we could just trade with everyone, everywhere, forever? That is over. It is being replaced by a messier, more expensive, and more volatile system that we call deglobalization. For the first time in decades, uncertainty over trade policy is the primary drag on global stability. Businesses are terrified. Nations are pulling back, spooked by rivalries and the painful lessons of supply chain collapses. This isn't theoretical risk. It is actively slowing the world down. Look at the data from the IMF. For 2012, they project global growth to be a sluggish 3.2%. But that number hides a massive divide. We are seeing a world of different speeds. Advanced economies, the places that used to run the show, are expected to grow at a slow and steady 1.5%. Meanwhile, emerging markets, despite their own struggles, are managing a healthier pace just above 4%. The engines of growth have decisively moved. Emerging economies in Asia are expected to account for about 60% of all global economic growth in 2025. If you are betting on the old world to drive the future, you are betting on the wrong horse. At the heart of this is the dismantling of supply chains. You've heard the buzzwords, friend-shoring, moving production to allies, or reshoring, bringing it home. These have gone from boardroom ideas to government mandates. It's done for security, but security is expensive. It kills efficiency. It destroys economies of scale. It pushes up costs for every single item you buy. We are pivoting from a world focused on efficiency, making things as cheap as possible, to a world focused on resilience, making sure things actually arrive. That is one of the most expensive projects in human history. This new economic reality is defined by friction. Tariffs appear overnight. Access to critical minerals like lithium and cobalt becomes a bargaining chip in a diplomatic war. There is no referee. This economic fragmentation forces the hand of the third domino, and this is the one that's going to keep you up at night. Technological acceleration. When labor is scarce because borders are closing, and when supply chains are unreliable because of trade wars, companies don't just sit there and die. They automate. They innovate out of desperation. This geopolitical chaos is acting as a massive accelerant for the AI revolution. AI is no longer science fiction. It is a strategic emergency. We are in the middle of an AI-driven skills earthquake. The skills needed to do your job are changing faster than you can learn them. PwC's 2025 AI Jobs Barometer dropped a statistic that should make you pause. The skills required for jobs most exposed to AI are changing 66% faster than for other jobs. Think about that. The ground under your feet is moving 66% faster than it used to. This creates a terrifying gap. The skills people have are quickly becoming obsolete, while the skills companies need are in desperately short supply. This gap is creating a two-track workforce. On one side, you have the AI empowered. That same PwC report found that workers with specialized AI skills are commanding a staggering 56% wage premium on average in 2025. That is more than double the premium from just a year ago. On the other side, we see the disruption. The World Economic Forum projected that by 2030, technology could displace 92 million jobs. Now, they also say it creates 170 million new ones. But here is the brutal truth they don't say loud enough. The person losing the job is rarely the same person getting the new one. We are seeing this play out right now. Layoffs in white-collar roles like HR and software engineering are happening at the same time as massive labor shortages in construction and nursing. The very nature of work is being redefined. Companies aren't hiring for degrees anymore. They are hunting for skills. This is the dawn of the skills-based economy. This technological acceleration crashes directly into our society, triggering the fourth and final domino, the societal and workforce fallout. This isn't just about software updates. This is a complete reimagining of the human contract. The collision of these forces, geopolitics, economy, tech, has changed what it means to be an employee, a leader, and a human being in the workforce. The old career ladder is broken. It's gone. The promise of one job for life is ancient history. We are seeing a transition to a skills-based hierarchy. A recent KPMG survey showed that CEOs now view the race for talent with AI skills as a top-tier crisis. This has forced a change in leadership. The old, screaming, top-down manager is obsolete. The best leaders today have to be coaches. They have to foster psychological safety, not because they are nice, but because they need their teams to innovate faster than the machines. And let's not forget, we have 5 distinct generations in the workplace right now. The values gap is massive. Younger generations have permanently changed the game. They demand more than a paycheck. Study after study shows that motivation is now deeply tied to psychological factors. People are driven when they see a future, when they learn, when they feel safe. Workers who feel bored or overwhelmed are 30% less motivated, regardless of salary. So, how do you survive this? If you're getting value from this breakdown and want to stay ahead of the curves the mainstream media keeps missing, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We connect the dots so you can be ready. Let's tie this all together. These aren't 4 separate trends. They are one single, interconnected story. First, the geopolitical domino fell. The unipolar order collapsed into a messy, multipolar brawl. That instability knocked over the economic domino, ending hyperglobalization and birthing a fractured, expensive economy. That friction accelerated the technological domino, forcing companies to adopt AI as a survival tactic. And finally, that tech tsunami crashed into the societal domino, dissolving the old social contract and demanding a new type of human worker. What does this mean for you? It means the single most important investment you can make is in yourself. Your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is your only safety net. The future belongs to the adaptable. It belongs to those with the skills AI can't touch. Critical thinking, complex communication, true leadership. The world of 2025 isn't defined by stability. It is defined by relentless change. The biggest mistake you can make is assuming the rules of the last 30 years apply to the next 30 months. They won't. The shift is here. The only question is whether you will be a victim of it or a student of it. The choice is yours.